Well, hey guys. Hopefully you are continuing to own it. It's Monday. We're pushing through. We've ended Genesis now. We're in the book of Exodus, and today we're ending the book of Job. And for so many of you, I know it's been a struggle. Job is a very interesting book, and there's just a lot going on. And there's a reason the Jewish Pharisees, Sadducees leaders, the Jewish religious leaders, place Job as one of the books of poetry because of all the language within the book of Job. And sometimes they can get kind of muddled in that, get a little confusing, what's going on. But you've pushed through and you've made it, and I think you've made it to the best chapters that there are. I mean, 40 is great as well, but 41, and I love it because it's a response of God to Job, to Job's friends, and that, hey, I am the great God. There is none beside me. There is none like me. And it's such an incredible moment. And sometimes we lose perspective on the fact that Job was a righteous man. Go back to the very beginning of Job, and God tells the deceiver, the accuser of the brethren, he tells him, hey, have you considered my servant Job? Have you considered him? He is righteous. And Job and the deceiver, the accuser of the brethren, is like, well, it's because you protect him, because you bless him. And God's like, well, take all that away from him, and he will still not curse me. And he doesn't. Now, he questions, why is God allowing all these things to happen to him, right? And so we can kind of argue whether Job, was right or wrong. But then in the end, we get to the point where God, a holy God, a righteous God, confronts Job and his friends. And at that moment, they recognize, boy, we're all wrong. And I love chapter 42 as we end the book of Job. Near the end of what Job is saying, verse 5, and I love this. This is what Job says. Again, a righteous man, a holy man, a man who's done so much for his family, a good father, right? Just incredible stuff. All the things we didn't see in the book of Genesis. This is Job, and he says this: I have heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes see you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. That Job recognizes in that moment, when you get in context with a holy, righteous, incredible God, you are but nothing. Woe is me, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I live amongst a people of unclean lips, as the prophet would say. To recognize that peace. And it's not an idea that you and I should walk around and go, oh, I'm just horrible, I'm not. No. I think what we need to understand is that we live by grace and mercy alone. And it doesn't matter how good we are, it's as filthy rags, as we find in the New Testament. All of our righteousness is as filthy rags. We must remember how great God is, how incredible He is. And when we think we've done enough, we haven't even touched what we should be doing. When we think we've come far enough, we haven't gone far enough. When we think we finally earned it and we can take a break, we haven't. Because God is so much more righteous, so much more beautiful, so much more grace filled, so much more mercy filled, right? So much more awesome than we can ever imagine and ever fathom.